I believe in the sun even when it's not shining. I believe in love even when I don't feel it. I believe in God even when God is silent. This is an adapted version of an inscription that was written on the wall of a cellar in Caron, where a number of Jews hid themselves for the entire duration of World War II. Today's topic is on the subject of longing. Now, when I think of this, there are two ways that this can go. There are those who long and feel hope, and there are those who long and feel suffering. When longing is used as a word that describes the idea of hope, we long for what we want in a way that leads us in that direction. Just like the writer of that quote on the cellar wall, the writer chose to believe that just because the experience wasn't there at that moment, the presence of the Son, of love, and of God was still there. Even though they couldn't see it, or feel it, or hear it, they still believed and had hope and a longing that it was possible to experience these once more. The sun had disappeared before, at night or behind clouds, but somewhere it is still shining. Love is something that we may not always feel, but we may have felt in the past and may not have given up on the idea that we can feel it again. God's silence may be very painful and real to us, yet it might be in that silence that we're able to experience God and listen to the very voice within which God is speaking through. When longing is used as a word that describes the idea of suffering, it comes from a place where our expectations do not get met. That gap between where what we expect and what we actually have or receive is. The bigger that gap, the bigger the suffering. After all, if we had everything we ever wanted, there would be no need for goals or hopes or dreams. What keeps us moving forward are often those goals, hopes, and dreams. However, if we don't have the things that we need or that we want, or if we feel broken or less than or insufficient as a result of these things that we don't have, then we fall into that potential trap of suffering. And I want to be very clear here, longing can have tremendous suffering in areas such as grief and loss. The pain of the loss of a loved one, for example, or the loss related to a change, or as noted, unmet hopes and dreams or plans that change. That pain can cause that suffering, that longing that we feel for something we may never be able to get back. Now, in many different talks that you might hear suffering talked about as a bad word. And it really isn't, though. But it is something that we must learn how to look at, how to examine within us. Disappointments and even failures are a part of life. And what's also a part of life is how we respond to them. And sometimes that response is getting knocked down. But I know that anyone who's sitting here in these chairs right now, who has ever been knocked down before, by what you may perceive to be failures or responses to the pain or the loss or the changes that you have experienced, I can pretty much guarantee that the reason you are sitting in those chairs right now is because you're working on finding that way to get back up again, in spite of the place of suffering that you may have experienced. So do not underestimate the power of your sitting here in this chair. That is a choice to say, I am ready to take a stand for myself once more. An acronym for failure is found another important lesson upon reviewing experience. Sometimes in the suffering, we begin to learn something about ourselves, about our vulnerabilities, fears, and areas of shame. We can continue to hold on to them, or we can begin to learn how to confront them with love. A quote from the book To Love and Be Loved by Sam Keane reads, "Look deeply into your disappointments, examine your heartache, interrogate your longing, probe your loneliness, meditate honestly on the elements of love for which you are still ignorant, and you will discover that void within you is already filled with the desire for fulfillment. Your yearning itself is an internal guidance system that is moving you to becoming a lover." Even in those areas of pain and suffering, we have much to learn about ourselves. And as much as we may fall into that trap of hating ourselves or others because of the pain or suffering we may be in, learning how to better reflect on it is a gift that we can in time learn to give ourselves to help us gain perspective on who we are and those areas of vulnerabilities, fears, and shame. In fact, step 10 and on a deeper level, step 4 are both reminders to keep these areas in check so that we can gain a deeper understanding and awareness of who we are. Longing, in whatever form it takes, can remind us of our potential and where we want to go. Longing with degrees of suffering can try to keep us stuck, or on the other hand, can propel us into believing in a hope that there might just be something better waiting for us on the other side of where we might be now. Just like those people that were holed up in that cellar during World War II. As that earlier quote by Sam Keane said, when we can face those things that are trying to keep us stuck or causing us to suffer, we can become more self-aware. And we can remember that we do have a choice to reframe our focus from a potential hopelessness to that of hope and a longing to remember the dreams, those hopes, those goals, or the meaning that makes up our true identity. And that in turn can lead us back to loving who we are and hopefully finding some happiness. Now, one question I frequently ask people when I'm in individual sessions with them is, what is it that you want? What is that person who's sitting there with me longing for? The answer I receive 99% of the time is, I want to be happy. Now, I follow up that question with, what does it mean for you to be happy? See, happiness means so many different things to so many of us. It often means maybe finding a sense of peace in the day-to-day challenges we might experience, or getting in touch with feelings of joy or wonder or contentment, or getting back in touch with the best parts of who we are and rediscovering, or even discovering for the first time, a sense of confidence that we may have lost somewhere along the line. According to a song by Linkin Park that I think many of us are going to be able to relate to, a feeling of happiness and contentment can come from a recognition that there are people who we don't simply fit in with, but who we belong with. People who accept us simply for who we are. And through these connections, we relearn how to feel, and through that we can find healing. The lyrics to the chorus of Somewhere I Belong read this: I want to heal, I want to feel what I thought was never real. I want to let go of the pain I've felt so long, erase all the pain till it's gone. I want to heal, I want to feel like I'm close to something real. I want to find something I've wanted all along, somewhere I belong. A big part of our longing for happiness is that longing to belong, to be able to feel again, feeling and doing what's authentic for us, rather than what an alcohol or substance use disorder wants for us. Other aspects of that song read about getting lost in the nothingness inside of him and the recognition that he's not the only one that feels this way. And he does not have to feel hollow and alone if he can simply find somewhere to belong. Now, if we look at this from the two sides of longing, from the suffering perspective of longing, he can focus on that shame of the emptiness that he's feeling. But from the hope perspective of the longing, he can focus on finding that place where he belongs. Longing for whatever that hope or dream or sense of belonging is requires us to shift from the stuckness we find ourselves in. And as the song goes, move towards the desire to heal, to feel, and believe in the hope that we are looking towards can in fact be real. Now there's a popular AA slogan and it says, "Fake it till you make it." Now, I get where it's coming from, but I'm not a big fan of that one. It doesn't feel authentic. We're trying to teach people to be authentic, and I do get that it's trying to just do the behaviors and you'll get there eventually. So I understand that. But you know what? There's a better phrase than "fake it till you make it." And I want to share that with you because this is the one where we engage in it ourselves. Face it till you make it. Face it till you make it. When we start being able to look deeply into our disappointments, examine our heartache, interrogate our longings, probe our loneliness, meditate honestly on the elements of love which we may still be ignorant, we will discover that void within us is already filled with the desire for fulfillment. And as the rest of that quote from Sam Keen reads, our yearning itself is that internal guidance system that is moving you to becoming a lover of self, a lover of hope, a lover that seeks to embrace the opportunities to yearn for our hopes, our dreams, our connections to self, others, and that very source of strength or higher power that guides us. So when we think of longing, may we remember that we can still yearn for those things that are not yet actualized, or things that we have lost, and just as those who have lost the ability to see the sun when they were locked in that cellar, or lost the ability to feel the love in that moment, or could no longer hear the voice of God through the thick walls that they were struggling to survive in, they never let go of hope and the realization that these things still existed. They may not feel them in the moment, but the sun still existed and shone somewhere. Love did exist, even in the midst of such terrible times, often through the existence of community willing to put themselves on the line to help hide people. Now, it may not have felt like that at the time, and wherever God was speaking directly into those people who did offer help, even if those receiving the help couldn't hear it. So as you go forward today, find those hopes, those dreams, and those goals that lead you to remembering a sense of yearning and a sense of longing to become the person that you want to be, not your alcohol or substance use disorder, but the person you want to be. Become that person who wants to heal, who wants to feel, who wants to let go of the pain that you felt for so long. You can release that here. You can release that into community, the community that has walked in your shoes, on whose shoulders you stand on. You are not alone. Find that sense of meaning for you, of happiness, and allow yourself to dream and take baby steps. Take the baby steps in order to live into the focus on those longings, those desires, those hopes, those dreams, those goals. And if those longings are unrealistic because of a situation of loss, allow yourself to grieve. Take the time, as Sam Keen said, to examine the heartache and the pain of the loss so that you can continue to grow, even with the loss. Find whatever community works for you and allow yourself to be open and honest with them and yourself. Face it till you make it. And don't let expectations keep you stuck in suffering. Amen.